Starlink, because of SpaceX, is able to have a launch every week. ISRO has a launch every few months.
Yeah.
Now, this is not about demeaning ISRO. ISRO also had its challenges. ISRO also had its setbacks. ISRO is also an evolving space agency, very respectable, but we have to be realistic. What a private sector firm can accomplish, you cannot expect a government space agency which is more focused on strategic interests of the Indian government, be it
Yeah.
related to public welfare, say weather and all that, or be it related to the military.
And
You can't
defense.
expect them, and defense, yes. You can't be expected to them to be invested in commercial interests because they are working for the government first, not for commercial interests, right? They are having a launch every week, sometimes two, and each launch goes with 60 to 80 satellites.
Yeah.
60 to 80 satellites, because that means payload capacity. That is where Falcon 9 comes in, which is a reusable rocket. Now, a reusable rocket, again, people make it about Atmanirbharta. ISRO has been working on a reusable rocket, but right now, what we use, it has a payload capacity of around 3,200 kilograms, depending on which variant of PSLV we are talking about.
The
This
top
is
end
what
is
I wrote in
3,500, correct.
3,800 at max, minimum 2,100. Falcon is 22,800 kilograms. So obviously, they can deploy far more satellites. They have reusable rockets, and they are in a space where they can take shocks. If a satellite crashes, if a launch goes wrong, they're able to absorb it. You remember what happened with Chandrayaan was trying to land on the moon and it went wrong. Not the Chandrayaan 3, one before that. How people mocked it, how people questioned it. I remember there was a digital news outlet that said, "Oh, why do we really need to research about the moon? We can see it from here." And that was not that Pakistani YouTube channel. Someone in India also made that logic. I won't name it because, again, right? So people need to understand, when you talk about Starlink and compare it with ISRO and Airtel and Reliance, Airtel and Reliance, at the end of the day, are telecom companies. You cannot expect them to become satellite companies overnight. Correct? It's impossible. But let's, for the sake of argument, say no. They are forced to become one by the government. The government tells them no. You're going to become a satellite company. बंद करो ये टावर वावर हटाओ, तुम्हें अभी सैटेलाइट लॉन्च करना है. इंडिया का पर कैपिटा इनकम क्या है? 2.25 लाख रुपए. इस देश में जहां पर Reliance and Airtel have cracked 400 million subscribers each, with the rest going to BSNL and Vodafone Idea, you think people are in a position to pay up an installation cost which could be anywhere between 25,000 to 50,000? Now, just to give some perspective, when you take up a broadband connection, say from Airtel, for instance, when I took one, I did not pay them any installation cost. They just tell me that you have to pay upfront your 3 months bill, and that's your installation cost balanced out. So they are taking in 3 months of guaranteed service. That's their installation cost. Here, Starlink is telling you, I will require at least 25,000 to 50,000 rupees. How many people in India can pay that? Now, are you going to tell your telecom companies, screw your existing models, go for something that does not have the right pricing right now in the Indian market, and screw yourselves? So, all these factors, that is why I was sort of tired out and I wrote that thread, but that you have to look at realistic numbers. Government cannot tell ISRO, stop everything you're doing. We need a constellation of satellites. There are 7,000, 8,000 satellites up there. He's aiming for 40,000. Chinese are aiming for 38,000. Now, even if you give ISRO all the money in the world, it can't just kick.
5-6 साल लगेंगे before it actually happens.
Exactly. और 5-6 साल क्या ये सही है that we wait? That we wait for such?
मेरा यही आर्गुमेंट था, और मैंने कल एक्चुअली, आप जो बोल रहे हो ना, मैंने कल इसके बारे में 3 लाइन लिखी थी. मैंने बोला, यार, you're complaining about Elon Musk on X. Interesting. You probably signed into a Google browser and complaining about data privacy. Extremely interesting. I mean, क्या बात कर रहे हो यार भाई? यूएस एम्बेसी जब आप वीजा लेने जाते हो, एंड आई एम सॉरी टू से दिस, किसी गलत जगह का भी इम्प्रिंट मांग लेना कि भैया आप कहाँ पर बैठते हो, जरा पीछे वाले एरिया का भी इम्प्रिंट दे दो, वो भी देके आ जाएंगे लोग.
And
I mean,
Congress
what?
is trying to make it about 2G. Then some people were telling it about auctioning and ye wo. Bhai, the government has already said that they will be allocated administratively.
It
The
can't be
government
done.
is going.
It's not allowed.
No, the government has already made it very clear this is going to be given from an administrative point of view. So Reliance is in the mix, Airtel in the mix. Now, when I first heard the news about Airtel and Jio both collaborating with Starlink, my first reaction was okay. So we can probably at this point, without any prior information, without any know-how of how this collaboration will work, can at least assume that the whole installation process will be taken care of by Jio and Airtel because they already have a ground network. They have a
Yeah.
distribution network.
Which
So
they've
they
said,
will have,
which they've said in their this thing also, that it will be using the current networks of both the companies.
yes.
Only
So